They didn't think they were villains. That's what makes this story so dangerous. They called it brotherhood. But behind the white robes was fear and fire. What began as a whisper in the ruins of a broken nation soon became an echo that haunted generations. History hides shadows. Stay with us, and let's uncover one of them. Before we go on, please support this channel by hitting the subscribe button below. Thank you. Let's continue. The year is 1865. The Civil War has ended. 4 years of blood, fire, and loss. The Confederacy is gone. The Union has survived. But peace does not heal everything. Across the South, the land lies in ruin. Cities smolder, families starve, and fields rot where men once fought for a cause that died in smoke. Millions of newly freed men and women step into a world promised by freedom, yet shadowed by hatred. For the first time in American history, the enslaved are free. And for many in the South, that freedom feels like defeat. In the small town of Pulaski, Tennessee, 6 ex-Confederate soldiers gather in a quiet law office. They are lost men, their army dissolved, their honor questioned, their world turned upside down. They speak of brotherhood, of loyalty, of pride. And from that conversation, a name is born: the Ku Klux Klan. A strange name, borrowed from the Greek word kyklos, meaning circle, a secret circle. At first, they call it a game, a social club, a bit of mischief. They design robes and masks, claiming it's all in fun. But mischief, in broken times, quickly finds purpose. In a land steeped in loss, the mask becomes more than disguise. It becomes permission. As Reconstruction begins, the South transforms. The federal government rebuilds. Black men vote for the first time, open schools, hold office. Hope takes root. But so does hate. The Klan rides at night, torches flickering, hooves pounding through dirt roads. They appear as ghosts of Confederate soldiers, draped in white to strike terror into those who dared to change the order of things. Homes are burned. Teachers are beaten. Families vanish in silence. Each attack leaves a message: remember your place. In Washington, word spreads of this rising terror. But the nation is tired of war, tired of blood. It takes time before anyone dares to act. Then comes President Ulysses S. Grant, a man who knows the cost of silence. He pushes back. Under his leadership, Congress passes the Enforcement Acts, giving the federal government power to crush the Klan. Soldiers return to the South, not as conquerors, but as defenders of justice. Trials begin. Leaders are arrested. For a brief, shining moment, the night grows quiet. By the 1870s, the Klan seems gone. Its leaders scattered. Its symbols fading into memory. The Reconstruction government stand, wounded but breathing. And many believe the nightmare is over. But history rarely ends so cleanly. Because hate is patient. It doesn't die. It hides, waiting for its next breath. In the years that follow, Reconstruction falters. The promises fade. Segregation rises like a new kind of wall. The laws change, but hearts do not. What was once shouted in the streets is now whispered in halls. And from those whispers, myths are born. Myths of lost glory, of betrayal, of a South that never truly surrendered. Generations grow up not fearing the mask, but romanticizing it. And beneath the pride, the old embers still glow. The masks disappeared. The fear did not. And in America's silence, the darkness learned to wait. Half a century later, the ghost returns. But this time, it doesn't hide in the dark. It marches in daylight. It speaks through radios, prints its message in newspapers, and waves its banners under open sky. The year is 1915. America is changing. The world stands at war. Immigrants arrive by the millions. Cities rise, industries roar, and the Old South feels its traditions slipping through its fingers. In the midst of it all, a new image appears, not in a backroom, but on a screen. It begins with a film, The Birth of a Nation, a silent epic that reimagines history through the eyes of fear. It shows the Ku Klux Klan not as terrorists, but as heroes. Audiences watch in awe as white-robed riders gallop to save the South. And as the credits roll, something awakens in America's memory. Among those inspired is a preacher named William J. Simmons, who climbs Stone Mountain in Georgia and lights a cross against the night sky. He calls it rebirth. The second Ku Klux Klan is born. But this new Klan is not a secret brotherhood in the shadows. It's a mass movement. They hold parades in Washington, recruit through newspapers, sell membership cards by mail. By the 1920s, they claim millions of members. Not just in the South, but in the Midwest, the West, even the North. They preach patriotism, purity, and power. They call themselves defenders of America. But what they defend is a myth, one built on fear of immigrants, Catholics, Jews, and African Americans. The robes are whiter, the speech is louder, and the hatred, now disguised as righteousness. Across towns and cities, crosses burn again. Hate finds rhythm in parades, slogans, and Sunday sermons. Children learn the symbol before they learn the truth. And for a time, it seems the Klan owns the night and the day. They elect governors, senators, sheriffs. They run schools, shape laws, and control entire towns. Ordinary citizens, sworn to secrecy, enforce their will with silence and fear. But power breeds arrogance, and arrogance always leaves cracks. By the mid-1920s, journalists and investigators begin to dig. Behind the claims of purity lie scandals, corruption, violence, and greed. Newspapers print the truth, Klan leaders enriching themselves, preying on fear for profit. Stories spread faster than their denials, and the image of the moral order collapses under the weight of its own lies. The government steps in again. Laws tighten, membership falls, and once more, the hood retreats to the shadows. But this time, it does not vanish completely. Decades pass. America changes again, through depression, through war, through progress. New generations rise, believing the old hatreds are dying. But in the South, where segregation still holds strong, the hood waits. Then comes the civil rights movement. The 1950s, the 60s, marches, boycotts, dreams spoken aloud. And with those dreams come nightmares. Bombings in Birmingham, marchers attacked in Selma, crosses burning once more on church lawns. Each act meant to send a message, the same message born in Pulaski a century before. Know your place. But something is different this time. America watches. Cameras film what was once hidden, the brutality, the fear, the faces behind the masks. The world sees, and the world turns. Civil rights leaders refuse to answer hate with hate. They answer it with resolve, with truth, with courage. The more the Klan burns, the more the light exposes them. And one by one, their fires fade into smoke. By the late 20th century, the Ku Klux Klan is a shadow of its former self, divided, hunted, irrelevant. Laws, awareness, and time strip away its power. Yet, the idea, the dangerous myth of fear disguised as patriotism, remains. Sometimes quiet, sometimes loud. Waiting, watching, changing shape. The Klan story is not just a Southern story. It's a warning of what happens when fear finds order, when anger finds purpose, when silence becomes agreement. It reminds us that hate doesn't always march with torches. Sometimes it walks in daylight, wearing different faces. In every age, darkness wears a new mask. And history's warning is simple: never let fear define the future. They began as 6 men in Tennessee. Their fear became an empire of hate. And yet, from that darkness, came a new America. One that learned, painfully, that freedom must be defended not by fire, but by truth. If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe to this channel. Also, do well to check out other interesting stories on this page. Thank you.